before I get into the report today, I want to ask you guys to please make sure you are still subscribed to my YouTube channel. YouTube has been on a tangent, literally removing people from the subscription feed. So please double check it and make sure that you're not only subscribed, but that you also have that little bell checked so that you can get my notifications. All right. So Biden gets inaugurated and bang, literal hell breaks loose. Not only does he undo a lot of what President Trump did by signing executive orders, but Antifa riots also break out. I've got so much information to show you guys today. But before I do, I want to remind you guys, please get on over to Restricted Republic. This is where I'm going to end up if they remove us en masse from these social media platforms, like is already happening to a lot of conservatives and libertarians and even Republicans. And right now, this is the one location that we can share exclusive content to Restricted Republic. And not only that, but we put all the YouTube videos up there without any commercials. And you can get it right now for $5 a month for an entire year because of what's going on. Just make sure you plug in the word Trump for the monthly subscription. So get on over to restrictedrepublic.com. And as a reminder, I'm also on BitChute under Lisa Haven. I will be there as well, and Rumble under Lisa Haven. So start migrating away from these controlled platforms onto some of these alternative. All right. So let's get into what happened with Joe Biden at the inauguration before I start going after the inauguration, right? And quite frankly, I really couldn't turn on my TV for that thing, but I digress. This is on Gateway Pundit. Biden has maybe 2,000 attendees at inauguration, but he has 25,000 military, just like they do in lawless banana Republic. 81 million people voted for this guy, but he's only got 2,000 attendees. Kind of sounded like, when he ran around America and all his rallies were slim to none. But hey, 81 million people. Moving on a little bit to the YouTube channel, the White House, who has now been, Biden is now, the White House is now in control of that. No longer is President Trump. Biden now has that platform. And as you can see, I want you to really notice the likes versus the dislikes here. You got 4,000 likes and 17,000 dislikes on the inauguration of the 46th president of the United States of America, and only 135,000 some odd views. Isn't that interesting? I'll let you make your ultimate, I'll let you do with that what you will. But that's not all. They actually put out a 2-hour one, right, of the entire inauguration. It has thus been unlisted, but before they unlisted it, it had 322,000 views and 3.6 thousand likes and 14,000 dislikes. Just wanted to get what happened prior or during the inauguration before I get into after. Now that we've established that a lot of people are unhappy with the inauguration of the 46th president of the United States on YouTube, on the White House channel, I also now want to point out that a lot of people were hopeful that some of the violence in the city would magically stop, but that's not exactly what happened. Take a look at this article, and this is on the New York Times. Hours after Biden was inaugurated, federal agents used tear gas in Portland. Protesters who spent months in the street over racial injustice and equality said they don't expect immediate change from Biden, who they declare Biden will not save us. Just as I predicted, there would still be Antifa in the streets, and they are. But of course, New York Times doesn't call them that. So let's go on over to another article. And I'm going to show you here. And this is on zerohedge.com. We want revenge. Antifa anarchists activate after Biden is inaugurated. And I'm going to scroll down to some of the footage here so you can see for yourself. But this is in Seattle, and you can see some of the footage here of what they're doing. They're actually walking in mass. They're holding signs. They're burning here the American flag. They're burning our American flag on the street there. And I'm not going to play this stuff in here. They've smashed windows in downtown Seattle on an Amazon Go store. It graffitied and windows were smashed in downtown Seattle. You can see some of this here on an Amazon Go. You can see bikers here. And then this one here, I think, is really important. There's significant damage at the Democrat Party of organ building on 9th and Everett. So they did some major damage to the Democratic Party building. Hey, Biden's president. Wasn't all of this supposed to be gone? Well, apparently it's still going on. These are anarchists in Antifa who are actually putting their logos on things. You can see in some of these photos, you can see the actual Antifa logo on some of it. But here's a couple of signs they have. And one of them says, "We are ungovernable. Nobody can control us," they says. And then the other one, "A new world from the ashes." And remember, Kamala Harris herself bailed out or put up the organization in which people can send in money to bail out the rioters and looters on our streets. But they're ungovernable, and they want a new world, a new Marxist, communist world, by the way, which is not a world that you or I want. And here's some of the other signs. We don't want Biden. We want revenge. That does not sound like unity and peace at all. We don't want Biden. We want revenge. For police, they want revenge for imperialist wars and fascist massacres. I don't think we've had fascist massacres yet in the United States of America. Just saying. This is part of a Marxist agenda, but that's literally what's happening right now. You know what's interesting, by the way? And I'm just going to say this, and I'm sure it's some hacker doing it, right? But anyway, if you plug in the word in your search engine, antifa.com, it goes to whitehouse.gov. I'm sure some hacker did that, and they'll fix it eventually, but just thought I'd throw that in there. Meanwhile, not only is Antifa and anarchists still burning our cities and our streets, wreaking havoc, which many in the Democratic Party have supported in some way, shape, or form. Not only that, but Biden also did this. And I think this is interesting. GatewayPundit.com. Biden removes painting of Jackson from Oval Office and adds one of Cesar Chavez bust. This is one of the first things that he did. And if you're not familiar with Cesar Chavez, he is a socialist. Here's a Wikipedia entry. And it says, Cesar Chavez is an American labor leader, community organizer, businessman, and Latino American civil rights activist. Along with Dolores, he co-founded the National Farm Worker Association, which later merged with the Agricultural Workers Organization Committee to become the United Farm Workers Labor Union. Ideologically, his worldview combined left politics with the Roman Catholic social teaching. He was a socialist. Get rid of Jackson, put in Cesar Chavez, because we want the United States of America to be socialist, not capitalist. That's a pretty bold sign. But hey, outside of that, another move that Joe Biden did while moving in on Inauguration Day. Here we have newsbreak.com. After promoting racial equality and, might I say, unity, President Joe Biden fires Black Surgeon General on the first day. So much for equal opportunity, but I digress. Another thing that Joe Biden did was this, and this is on CNN.com. The White House contract form now lets people choose their personal pronouns. And of course, some of you may or may not have heard about these, but he's also signed 17 executive orders. This is on New York Post. Biden to kick off presidency by signing 17 executive actions, which, by the way, many of these actions undo a lot of what President Trump did. And I'm going to get into some of these here. Scrolling down to the bottom of this article. Here's some of the things, the directives that Biden will issue. 100-day masking challenge. Oh, yay. Not. That was sarcasm. Biden will sign an executive order requiring mask and physical distancing in all federal buildings, on all federal lands, and by all federal employees and contractors during the first 100 days of his administration. And he's going to ask the Department of Health and Human Services and the CDC to work with the state as well. He's also going to rejoin the World Health Organization that, President Trump pulled us out of, but he's going back into that. He's also going to appoint a COVID-19 response coordinator. Biden will sign an executive order creating a COVID-19 response coordinator who will report directly to him and oversees on all elements of COVID-19 as far as product, supply, distribution, and all of that as well. Fauci is going to be involved in that, and I believe he is even hiring 100,000 people to do more contract tracing for you and I. Moving on a little bit, he's going to extend the COVID-19 memorandums and evictions foreclosures. He's also going to extend the COVID-19 student loan pause. He's going to rejoin, this is a horrible one, the Paris Agreement on climate change. This is something that I was super stoked that President Trump got out of, but now we're back in the Paris Agreement on climate change. This is kind of a new world order. How do I say, or international order, excuse me, document or agreement, which basically, pushes the idea of carbon taxes and more of green kind of era stuff. They reverse Trump's environmental actions. Biden is going to sign an executive order directing all executive departments to review and act upon Trump era regulations and executive actions deemed harmful to public health or damaging to the environment, including, revoking the presidential permit Trump issued in 2017 for the construction of the Keystone Pipeline. That's crazy. Right in the middle of building it, we're just going to stop. Biden is also signing an executive order on advanced racial equity. Basically, he plans to have each federal agency required plans within 200 to address unequal barriers and opportunities. This includes scrapping President Trump's 1776 commission, which he built simply as let's focus on the Constitution and the Bill of Rights kind of thing. So Biden is literally scrapping that. And they're going to push the idea of the 1619 New York Times, America was born in racism. I mean, really? Then he goes on and he wants to now include non-citizens in the U.S. Census. This is a new executive order. He's also going to sign an executive order to protect dreamers from deportation. He's going to reverse the Muslim ban. Biden will sign an executive order action ending 2 Trump proclamations that restrict travelers from 13 countries. These are some of the countries that are involved. Basically, the countries that have massive ISIS movement, jihadists, and that kind of thing. We also have the fact that Biden is going to end Trump's executive order on immigration. Biden is going to sign an EO reversing 2017 Trump's order mandating the use of all available systems and resources to enforce U.S. immigration laws inside the country. He's going to stop the construction of the border wall, basically open up the United States of America, and he is also going to extend deferred enforcement department for Liberians. He is also going to prohibit discrimination based on sexual orientation or identity. He's going to implement an ethics pledge. Biden will sign an EO requiring all executive branch employees to sign pledges to act in the interest of the American people and not for personal gain. And finally, he is going to reverse Trump's regulatory reforms. He is going to sign a memorandum reversing Trump's executive orders regarding the federal regulatory process, which most notably required that agencies repealed 2 regulations for every new one they adopt. So there you have it. Joe Biden's 17 new regulations immediately right off the bat. He's also going to be throwing that painting of a socialist up on his wall, Cesar Chavez. And of course, Antifa and anarchists are still breaking out all across the country. Gosh, we are headed for straight up socialism in the United States of America. And unfortunately, we got useful idiots out there who are allowing all of this to go by unbeknownst to them what they're actually doing. Capitalism is going by the wayside and freedom of society is going by the wayside. And you know why liberals, every time, and I'm going to make this statement kind of in closing, every time liberals lead in society, think about the Bolshevik Revolution, we've got all these different things that happen. Every time liberals are in charge, they always suppress the other side. They always do. Why? Because their theology doesn't hold weight, right? It's all in support of those at the very top, and that's what many of them don't realize. But it's very easy to talk to convince them to what's really is going on when we show them the facts and tell them the truth of things. Anyhow, I love all of you. Again, please don't forget to check out my partner at hidewithlisa.com. If you guys don't have a VPN, now is the time to get one. I've got one on my phone. I've got one on my computer, and I will not, search the internet without it. You can see the virtual shield here on my phone right there. But this thing is really amazing. It really scrambles your computer's IP address, so it acts as if you're on another computer. And if you don't have a VPN, today is now the day to get one. So check it out at hidewithlisa.com. Anyhow, I love all of you. Thanks again for tuning in. I'm Lisa Haven, signing out.